Is it perfect? No, but what is?
Lana Lang. That's what's
Oh my
perfect.
God.
She's never done anything wrong in her life.
Oh my God.
Hi, I'm Luke.
And I'm Justin.
And you're listening to Relative Banter Podcast. If you haven't seen Smallville, stop listening here. This is a rewatch for both of us, so we will be talking about future plot points, and you will be spoiled.
Today we're going to talk about Smallville Season 1, Episode 2, Metamorphosis. What a word, metamorphosis.
Like a butterfly to... Nope. Like a caterpillar? Nope. Like a cat. I can't talk today. Like a caterpillar to a butterfly?
Yeah, metamorphosis is just, I don't know, I like the word. It's definitely something I stemmed on a couple of times when I saw the title. I was like, metamorphosis.
It's also a work by Kafka.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I don't know if you've read any Kafka, but...
No, not really, but it's good to know.
Get on that. Metamorphosis was directed by Michael W. Watkins and Philip Scricchia.
I think we're just going to go with Philip S., just so that we don't offend this guy.
Philip S. sounds good. I salute you, Philip S. And this was written by Alfred Goff and Miles Miller. The synopsis. Bug lover Greg has an accident involving meteor rocks and his own insect collection, giving him creepy insect characteristics and powers. Lana is endangered when Greg decides that she is the perfect mate to start a colony. Poor Lana is what I have to say.
Yeah. I think this is just, more proof that everyone has a crush on Lana. If we can find one person in this show that doesn't have a crush on Lana, then I don't know. It just doesn't seem possible because everyone seems to have a crush on her.
At least every straight man in this show. Some women too, probably. I mean,
I'm definitely sure that there are.
Yeah. But should we just jump right in? I mean, that's a pretty good spot to start.
I mean, I think that the temperature seems pretty good, so we can jump right in.
All right, great. Yeah, it's a warm 61 here in Los Angeles, California, so it's perfect pool weather.
Screw you, because it's 28 here in New Jersey.
Maybe you should just be in Celsius and you won't have a problem.
And then I think it would be too hot.
Well, then, hell.
So jumping in right off the bat, like the synopsis says, like Bug Lover Greg, they are very on the nose about this right from the get-go. Like we see him opening scene in a tree, filming Lana, which is creepy, but he's in a tree. It's also that he drives a green punch buggy.
Beetle.
Or
a beetle.
Yeah, a green beetle. That's the whole thing. It's like, the bug guy. He drives the bug car and he has all the bugs, and it's very on the nose.
He doesn't have any other hobbies. It's just bugs.
No, he has the other hobby of stalking Lana.
But it's for a bug-related reason,
Yeah, because he put a box of butterflies in her room, which also means he broke into her room.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Pretty creepy. Man. It's pretty creepy all around. Damn it, Greg. What's wrong with you?
So much is wrong with Greg, as we come to find out. I will say, though, talking about that scene, I really thought that scene was beautiful. Like, the butterflies were, like, kind of green and, like, sort of neon looking. Like they had the meteor rock poisoning. I thought it was cool.
I was going to say meteor infected. Yeah, but it was cool effects. I think not realizing, that it's this random dude that's, like, stalking her in a tree. Like, it's like, this is cool. This is nice. And then you realize that and you're like, this is really fucking creepy, though. So
yes, especially the videos, and then like we go to his house and his mom even thinks he's creepy. Like, if your mom thinks you're creepy, I mean, who the hell else is going to give you the benefit of the doubt? He's been doing this for a while, clearly.
Yeah, like there was like a stack of tapes that she found.
Yeah, like, come on, man. This was pre, Spider-Man incel, you know, incel Parker, you know, however
I
you want
think
to.
you're insulting Peter Parker and also, not Miles Miller, Miles Morales.
Yes, my favorite Spider-Man, Miles
Miles
Miller.
Miller. Yeah, all the iterations of Spider-Man are rolling over in their graves right now.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Uncle Ben is rolling over in his grave, Luke.
Well, he would have been doing it anyway, so nothing I can really do there.
That's just.
But on the subject of Greg, I mean, throughout the episode, he's just so full on and like just acting animalistic and territorial about Lana, and like she's just way too nice to him, I think.
I think that's just a theme in general. That she's just nice to everyone. That's why everyone loves her. Not like loves her in like the way that they want to be with her. I mean, just like love her as a person. You know, she's just a really sweet person to everybody. So
Yeah.
innately, people just like her.
Yeah. And believe me, I get it. But
Mhm.
he's just still really creepy. And then like, okay, so I want to talk about the scene where he morphs into the bug thing. All right. He's driving along in his car. The bugs come out. Would you not pull over? Would you continue driving with bugs flying around in your car?
Hell no. I would get the hell out of that car. But like, I think for this guy, he's in his head like, these are my bugs. You know, I can't let them get away. And so he's probably like, you know, I'll take a couple of bites and stings because I don't want to lose my bugs. Because that was the whole reason, like, he was driving them in his car anyway, is to put them in a safe place, you know, because his mom is trying to send him off to military school.
I guess. But like,
I know. We're not
suspension of disbelief here.
We're talking about a 14-year-old kid that has got a lot of acne. Definitely not well liked, you know, and he's stalking girls on his free time when he's not with his bugs. So he's definitely not in the right frame of mind to be like, you know, how would you think logically here?
You know, something just occurred to me. They're all supposed to be 14 years old, and yet they're all driving around in cars.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Smallville, Kansas, the driving age is 14, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to believe that any of them are 14 anyway, because like they're all friggin' adults. It's also weird to think, I was thinking about this the other day, is that like at the end of the show, what are they supposed to be, 24? Like it feels like they're 40 at that point, you know? You know, so it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I actually can't remember if there's any time jumps like that. I think there are, though.
I mean, I know the first 4 seasons for sure are definitely year to year because it's like every year of high school.
Yeah.
But yeah, there might have been some time jumps. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Back to Bug Boy and his acne.
Bug Boy, oh my god.
Apparently, becoming a bug.
I never understood this. This like you get like a superhuman ability from like a bug, and it helps your appearance. It doesn't seem like that goes in the right direction.
We have to suspend our disbelief here, I guess. That's going to be a common theme, I suppose.
Yeah, but I definitely agree that this is like, you know, a low budget Spider-Man rendition type of thing.
The CGI when he kills his mom made me laugh, I have to say. It was very campy.
Yeah, skipping ahead.
I know exactly what. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, to killing his mom. He went 0 to 60 real quick. Yeah, like he references like some type of spider, like in that moment, and says how like they kill their mother after they are born, which is like, oh, cool. I want to have kids, definitely.
Well, just don't give birth to a bug and you'll be fine.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
My favorite thing though is that backing up a little bit, my favorite thing is that when he's driving with the bugs, Papa Roach is playing, and then he also has a Papa Roach poster in his room.
Yes, which is so funny. I think it's so funny that they have Papa Roach playing. The show is so nostalgic with that, like, you know, just all these throwback songs.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. We'll get to the songs because I have.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, like on the nose about like the bugs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But like, props to the art department for the Papa Roach poster and the music
yeah.
supervisor. All right. You have more to say
Um,
about Greg? Greg's little arc?
no, Greg is already a creepy dude, and they just made him creepier
Yeah,
and gave
yeah.
him some powers. So yeah, like definitely on par with the freak of the week.
Yes. Well, what did you think about him kind of battling it out with Whitney and Clark over Lana? Like it was kind of like they
I
were
mean,
all battling, sort of.
yes,
Clark wasn't, but
yeah. Well, Whitney, I get because Whitney is her boyfriend, and Whitney is also like an ass and like very possessive of Lana. Clark, it's like, dude, it's just Clark. Like no one knows anything about Clark. He's not her boyfriend, and so I don't really get that. There's also like an underlying story that they don't really elaborate on about how like Greg and Clark and Pete used to hang out back in the day, and then they just stopped hanging out like inexplicably.
yeah,
And so maybe he has some feelings towards Clark that we don't really know about.
gay feelings.
I just meant that he like they had like a falling out that we don't hear about
Oh,
more.
that's less interesting.
If you say so. But yeah, like I think it's makes less sense that he's bothered by Clark. But I think it's just to the point that like he's just decided that Lana is his to claim, I guess, and anybody that stands in his way is a problem.
We should start like a obsessed with Lana counter
Okay.
because we're at one right now, but
One, we have three.
obsessed with Lana.
I mean, let's be real. Like in the first episode, Clark is looking at Lana through his telescope, so we can't
That is true.
exactly rule him out.
Okay, we can't exclude. All right, so two. We're at two.
And then, well, I mean, Whitney's pretty obsessed with her too. Like, he literally tied Clark up to, as a scarecrow because he's afraid of how threatening Clark is to their relationship. So,
Okay,
people kind of love Lana pretty hard, I'd say.
they do. That girl needs a lot of therapy already, and
Yeah.
I feel bad for whoever has to foot that bill because she's got a lot.
You know,
Okay, so obsessed with Lana. Episode 2, we're at 3.
yeah.
And that number just, 4 if you count me. But I feel like I'm obsessed in like a normal way.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're not obsessed with the actress wasn't 14 years old, but yeah.
God, I was like 8. I was a child when I first saw her on my TV.
Okay.
So.
Well, if anything, it's inappropriate because she's too old for you then.
No, not now.
I said then.
Well, but she didn't know me. Anyway, I'm cutting this out. Anyway.
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So Greg goes to Clark's loft and, leaves his little glowy green jizz all over the ceiling of the loft. And well, what else is it?
I mean, I don't know.
Should I bleep out the word jizz?
If you want.
I think I'd make it funnier, actually.
All I know is that, like, I thought it was an interesting scene in general, that scene, just because, like, it's a weird display of Clark's abilities, I think, because there's different things he could have done to save his father from falling, but he decides to, like, land on top of whatever contraption that is, like, whatever farming equipment that is with the sharp edges, and have, like, catch Jonathan on top of that. He could have just, like, zoomed him away. Oh, also, we skipped over something very important. We skipped over something very important from the very beginning. After we see Greg and after the credits, we go to the opening scene after the credits is seeing Clark just floating.
Yeah, no, it's creepy. It's a little creepy.
I think like the reason, because we're talking about like Clark's abilities, and that's what, sparked
yeah.
idea for me. But we're already, he doesn't have all of his abilities, but we're already like, teasing his flying abilities. And it's in a dream over Lana's bed. I don't know. Like, I get, he's supposed to be a teenager, but it seemed like a little bit of an odd choice.
Well, yeah, and then he was floating in real life. Yeah, it is a weird choice. Like, if they were going to tease it then, they should have kind of gone back to that. At least allow him to float if he wasn't going to fly. But he really rarely gets airborne after that.
Yeah.
Except when he's Kal-El in season 4.
Yeah, I believe that's 4 too. Yeah, like it seems interesting to me to introduce in the second episode of the series him possibly flying and then never really touch upon it later in the show.
Yeah, I agree. It was a tease.
For sure.
But coming back to your original point about it being an interesting choice of how he saved Jonathan, I kind of saw it as he did it that way because he's not really used to saving people like that. He's not used to something like that happening very much. So I feel like he just kind of did the only thing he could think of.
Yeah. It's just interesting that the only thing he can think of is to land on this sharp object. You know, you would think, especially because he's still learning about his abilities, that he would think to stay away from sharp objects because, you know, maybe he's not impervious to them. But I get your point.
Well, earlier in the episode, he saved Whitney from an explosion. So I guess he figured if he can withstand an explosion, he could probably withstand some equipment.
Fire is different. You know, it's a different type of physicality. So, he's still exploring his abilities, and I get that there's going to be like some questions. It's just like, I just think, you know, like he's already speeding through. You know, you would think he would just speed him away, but whatever.
But it didn't. It doesn't make for a cool shot, Justin.
Of course, it's not cinematic enough.
But yeah, you know, I thought it was cool how he saved Whitney. The way he saved Whitney. I love when he like puts his arms around someone and he protects them. I love when he saves people like that.
Human shield,
yeah.
Kryptonian shield. Yeah, not that Whitney deserves it at all, but yeah.
Well, he didn't deserve to die.
He didn't deserve to die, but like he doesn't deserve to be saved by Clark. Like,
yeah, he does next season anyway.
Also, like speaking of this, I forgot how much I friggin' love Lex in these beginning episodes, and just how like he's such an advocate for Clark getting with Lana, just an advocate for Clark in general. But like, he's like, I know you have feelings.
I have feelings.
I mean, like at least he's trying to be a good friend.
He is looking out for Clark, and he is the reason that Lana finds out ultimately about what Whitney did to Clark, the Scarecrow thing.
Yeah.
But Lex is really creepy when it comes to Lana.
100%. I 100% agree.
I think he's supposed to be like 20 years old or something like that. I think I read that somewhere. And Lana's supposed to be 14. And the first thing he says is like, can't knock your taste in women. I mean,
dude, I agree. I'm just saying, you know, even though he's being creepy, at least he's trying to help Clark in a sense. Because, you know, that's one thing I definitely agree with. Is like, I don't really understand how the hell Lana and Whitney ever got together.
Yeah.
To this day, I still don't understand where the attraction came from. The only thing that makes sense to me is that, you know, she was the cheerleader and he was the football player. But like, other than that, like, I just don't see how those two people, you know, even hang out as friends. They just don't seem like they have very much in common. He's Dick and she's a really nice person. So like, I don't see it. So
yeah,
Lex is very creepy with her though. Like, I do agree.
That whole scene with the horses in the barn,
in the stable.
Stable. That's the word. That entire thing was so creepy. Like, well, actually, even before that, he looks at her and he eats an apple, like as if saying she's forbidden fruit, right?
Which is funny because then he throws the apple away.
That's true. Maybe that's like symbolic of like, oh, he's giving her to Clark or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm adding this obsessed with Lana to 4 because
that is true.
Lex already.
Yeah. See, this is exactly what I'm saying. But yeah, like I just remember that scene in general, thinking that scene was kind of odd. You know, just seeing him watch her from a distance while eating a random apple from the back of Clark's family's truck, and then he just chucks it away. It's like, is that him saying this fruit sucks? Or is, you know, like, I don't know. It's just, it just, you know, I feel like there's supposed to be some kind of hidden meaning, but like it could be left up for interpretation. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just an odd scene.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And it's like, lucky guy. I doubt I'd forget meeting you. And like, oh, it's just so. But anyway, the standout moments of this scene in the stable is just like how kind of sarcastic and like I wouldn't say dismissive, but like Lana wasn't putting up with Lex's shit. She wasn't buying what he was selling, kind of thing, until he mentions the thing with Clark. I liked how that was because Lana already had a sort of negative opinion about Lex because he did some dirty stuff with a woman while she was around being 10 years old.
Yeah, there's also another creepy line where he says, "Oh wow, you're all grown up now." Like that was 4 years ago,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. She is not all grown up. She is a child still.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing with Lex this episode, I thought, was in regards to like Clark and Lana. He thinks that Lana's necklace, if presented in the right way, can somehow allow Clark to win her if he's strategic enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's a pretty good insight into his psyche because he thinks that Clark has to win her like over Whitney. You know what I mean? Like he thinks that can win her over.
It does speak to his spoiled rich kid type of mentality where he just, he's thinking about like how things can just be bought. I agree. I don't disagree that Clark should give back the necklace. I don't really understand why he's so secretive about giving it back to her. It may not get the response that Lex is saying, but like I just don't understand why he continuously hides it from her, especially after she finds out Whitney, kidnapped him basically and put him up as a scarecrow. Like it would be a nice gesture and just return it and be like, hey, like here's your necklace back, that your boyfriend just put on me.
I kind of like what he did though. I like I think it was ultimately he does give it back, but he just leaves it there. And I think he was doing the wrong thing at first because I think he selfishly wanted the necklace to stay lost because he wasn't really able to go near her
Mm.
before.
I get that aspect of it. I do. I just don't understand the anonymity of it.
Well, I think in a way, it's Clark not choosing to be strategic, like Lex was saying to be. Like, I mean, maybe that's not how it was meant, but that's how I took it. And also, I don't think he's the type of guy who wants credit. You know what I mean? Like, well, I think he wanted her to have it. I don't think he wanted to be the one to give it back to her. If that makes sense.
Yes, but I don't know. It's off-putting to me because anybody bringing it back could mean that anyone takes credit. And I don't think it hits home. Like she's happy to see it. She's happy it's back, but like I don't know. Like if I were Lana, I'd be like, okay, so who brought this back then? Like that would be a question in my mind. And I don't understand like he may not have to take credit, but like he doesn't. He also doesn't have to be like, hey, I'm bringing this back. Like I found this. Like I know this is your necklace and I saw it somewhere. Like he didn't have to be like, oh, I got this back from Whitney or something. Like I don't know. It didn't sit well with me that he had to be so anonymous about it because he may not have used it for the same reasons that Lex was intending it for, but that doesn't mean he had to not take any credit at all. That was a little bit of a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Um, I think it could be interpreted a few ways, though. I think he had his reasons. I think maybe he just wanted to back off. You know what I mean? It would have been the simple solution to just give it back to her in the lead box.
Yeah. I guess it is what it is. It just seemed like an interesting choice. It almost it felt like a regression to me that he's putting himself back into the background again.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
absolutely wasn't a regression. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He hasn't learned anything yet.
No. It is a nice gesture after all. He gave it back to her. He didn't let it stay lost. He does so many things where he's just like he's always kind of letting other people take his credit. Like I guess fast track. I mean, we're already at the end of the episode. We're talking about something that happens at the end, but like when Greg decides that Lana's his to mate with and kidnaps her, and then like Whitney gets caught in the scuffle and when Clark goes looking for her, he finds Whitney. And like right off the bat, like he's like saying like, I think I know where she is. And he's telling Whitney to come meet him there, even though he speeds off. But like in that time, he's fighting with Greg. And by the time that whole scene of them fighting is done, he comes back and Whitney has become the hero that found Lana. And I mean, not that he should rush up and be like, hey, it was me or something, but like, I don't know. I feel like he just gives up too easily often. And Whitney does not deserve any of that credit. Not that Clark has to take credit, but like, I don't know. It's you can see it in his face how upset he is that like Whitney gets to be the knight in shining armor.
Yeah, but I also think that Clark is very self-sacrificial, and I think for him, and this comes out to play like throughout the entire series, I think ultimately Clark is someone who is afraid of his feelings. He feels guilty about Lana's parents. It's something that him and Jonathan talk about in the episode, is that he feels responsible for her parents' death. I think that's a part of the reason why he doesn't let himself get so close. And it's part of the reason that it's easier to just yearn from afar, as he's always done.
Yeah, I mean, he did that even when he didn't know those things, though.
Right. But he also hadn't been as close to Lana as he is now.
Yeah. I definitely see what you're saying. Like, there's definitely like an internal struggle going on. It develops very early on, just like this, I guess, Superman mentality, like that before he's even Superman. He just always is like, I'm going to save the day, but not let anybody know that I saved the day. And I get that, I get that that's what, what the anonymity part of it is. But if we're saying that anybody can come and save you, like Whitney, like he didn't fight Greg, he just found her and, took some webbing off of her. Anybody could do that. And like, again, it's something that just doesn't sit well with me, because it's like, why even include Whitney? He didn't have to include Whitney. He chose to include Whitney. Why make that choice? He didn't have to include anyone. Like he's done plenty of saves before where people just wake up and there's no one there. They're just safe. And I just didn't understand like why he let Whitney have that one. The guy is obviously not a good guy and like was terrible to him and is not great to Lana. He lost her favorite necklace after all and didn't even bother to tell her. It was definitely something that I was like, why would you give this to him? Like even if he didn't want to take it himself, he didn't have to give it to Whitney.
I mean, I don't know if he intended that to happen with Whitney. Whitney was there.
He told Whitney to go there. That's why I thought about it. If he didn't have to tell Whitney where he was going.
Yeah, he could have, but I think at this point, he's not super confident in his ability. So maybe he just like wanted him to come for backup or something like that. I think ultimately he had Lana's safety in mind, and that was more important to him than just whatever it is he was going to do. But I get it though. Like Whitney doesn't deserve a lot of anything. He's a very fragile, insecure guy. Like Lana is probably the best thing he has besides football. I mean, and like if he doesn't get a football scholarship to college, what is he really like what is he going to amount to? And that's something he said in the pilot. Like, what is this guy's personality outside of football and his girlfriend?
I don't really care.
I mean, yes, that's why we don't care. He might be the captain of the football team, but he seems like a loser to me.
He's a guy that peaks in high school.
Yeah.
I really don't care for the character. I'd rather see more of Pete or Chloe having those relationships develop more than dealing with Whitney and his jealousness of everybody.
Yeah. Let's talk about Pete and Chloe for a sec, because it was interesting how like the first half of the episode didn't have any of them, and then they mentioned Chloe. I was like, oh, well, yeah, where is Chloe? And then they, we have some breaking and entering. And
yeah. Oh, I'm glad you brought this up.
I do love Chloe's role in this whole like Freak of the Week thing. I know people have mixed feelings about the Freak of the Week thing, but I think Chloe's role in it, even though again she's 14 and somehow involves like the editor of this school paper, I'll overlook it. I like that it's the whole like wall of weird thing where they're looking into what could have happened to this guy because all of this other weird shit has happened. I like that. It is the pin that holds it all together, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also love the whole, like, yeah, I don't know. I love Clark and Chloe's friendship.
I agree. You see right off the bat, like, there's a little flirtatious, energy with them. But I do like their relationship, and I like that it already starts off early. The journalistic mindset, the interest in doing the investigation and that type of deal that ultimately leads to the Daily Planet in the future. But like, I think it's really cool to see that it started off really young. But back to the breaking and entering real quick. I did not notice this the first time around, but upon rewatch, in that scene, there is one shot where we see Clark and his hair is completely different. He has like longer hair. He has like a kind of like a bowl cut thing going on. And there's one shot where he's alone, and it looks like it was a reshoot because it's like a camera angle like where you see Chloe and Pete, and then they'd show you the other shot where you see Clark. And in this shot, his hair is short. It looks like he just got a haircut. I just happened to, I was like, did I not notice the rest of the scene that his hair was short and he had just gotten a haircut, or is this just a one-off in this moment? And I went back and I also saw the rest of the scene, and his hair is long in the rest of the scene. So it definitely is probably like an added reshoot, but like that was just something that I picked up on, like a continuity error. But yeah, that whole scene was interesting to me because like they just show up at this kid's house who they're not really friends with anymore, and they're like peeking through and like the breaking and entering and everything. It's just like, again, you think these are 14-year-old kids doing this. Yeah. We did some stuff when we were 14-year-olds, but like that just seems like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, these are the oldest 14-year-olds I've ever seen in my life. So in their physicality and also just the stuff they do, it was interesting. I mean, I feel like the stuff in the house is the most like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man ever, like things ever. And like just the mom being wrapped up in the web, and
the molting scene was, I had to look away. It was disgusting watching him like peel his skin off.
Yes, that was really gross.
Something. Yeah.
He kind of looked like, what's his name from American Psycho during that scene to me?
Christian Bale.
Yes. Why can't I remember his name?
Yeah,
it was kind of freaking me out a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was definitely gross. And soon after that, he goes right over to Clark's.
Mm-hmm.
Back to like Chloe and Pete and stuff. I like the little camaraderie that they have, and I like that they all just kind of get thrown into the investigative and like the childhood backstory. Like it makes it feel real that they would talk about this like random kid that they knew in middle school, and that they because you have those relationships with people, you just randomly stop talking to people once you hit high school, or like you have like a stupid little falling out, and then the guy turns into a bug, no big deal. But like
no big deal. I think it's cool too that they like mention that like he moved there after the meteor shower to like make that make sense a little bit more, why he didn't come into powers until now.
I missed that.
Yeah, they actually address it like when they're talking. I think it's when Chloe and Clark are doing some investigating. They mentioned that he moved in after, and then Chloe's the one that says like, yeah, but his bugs could have been exposed to the meteor rock.
Right. I think I might have been having a snack during that scene. Oops.
No. Missing important plot points there, Luke.
It was a delicious apple.
A delicious apple like the one that Lex had?
Yes, but less creepy. I wasn't looking at any women during that apple.
Sure.
Lex. Just the ones on my screen.
Yeah. Okay. We'll let it slide just once.
All right. Do you want to just talk a little bit about like Clark and Whitney's little aftermath of the scarecrow thing and like Lana finding out?
I think it was handled pretty well. Like, Lana's giving him a lot of shit. Clark's giving him a lot of shit. They're all just being really cold towards him, and he freaking deserves it. Like that was very uncalled for. It's like, it was just a prank. Yeah. I'm sure you wouldn't feel that way if someone did it to you, bro.
Right, exactly. And then like I love the scene when Lana goes up to the loft and they have that conversation. She's apologizing for Whitney, but Clark's like, you shouldn't be the one apologizing. It's not your fault.
Responsibility. Yeah.
Right. And it isn't. But I kind of like how the episode comes together when Lana says that her Aunt Nell says that life is about change. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's beautiful, most of the time it's both.
Which kind of brings me back to like a scene that I thought was really vulnerable for Clark, where he's like talking to his dad about when he was floating over the bed, and Jonathan's trying to reassure him, like, everything's going to be fine. And he's like, yeah, but it's happening to me and I'm scared. I thought that was a really vulnerable moment, to just show that, like, ultimately, yes, Clark is just a kid and he's got these crazy things going on. And it's just, he's scared of what that means.
Yeah. I like how vulnerable Jonathan was in that moment too. He was honest and said, like, I'm supposed to have all the answers. And he doesn't. They're figuring it out together. It's really cool to see like a scene between a father and son where they're being really vulnerable with their emotions. And I feel like for how much TV there is out in the world, I feel like you don't get a lot of scenes like that.
Well, yeah, usually the dad is like the standoffish, we're not really going to talk about our feelings type of thing, which is interesting because that's how Jonathan seems on the outside. He's, like, he works on a farm, he's always fixing things, and you would expect him to be like that, like, I'm a man's man, I don't talk about my feelings. But he's not.
Right.
He's a big softy.
Yeah,
which is exactly what Clark is.
Yeah, Clark is a big old golden retriever. But yeah, Clark is definitely just like his dad. It's just like Jonathan. So like it was a good scene, and I like that we don't forget that Clark has guilt over the meteor shower.
It's a weird thing to think about because, like, he's not directly responsible. Like,
No.
he didn't choose where his pod was going. He didn't choose any of it, honestly. Like his parents did. They sent him there. And though he was there, and, it's because he was sent there that this stuff happened. Like, it was out of his control, something that really couldn't be done.
Yeah. I mean, all that debris coming down is like remnants of Krypton. It wasn't all just Clark. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It's just a byproduct of. I mean, I guess a little bit of it is probably it winds up being survivor's guilt, but like, he also just. I think it's easier to blame himself too because he doesn't really know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, this must be my fault because I came down during the meteor shower, and it's like I think it's like a testament to sometimes how we make assumptions and connections as kids. For some kids, it's like we blame ourselves, or like we take things very personally when we're like 14.
Yeah, 100%. And I also think it starts the very big theme that there is in this show and other iterations of Superman is that he has the weight of the world on his shoulders. Like this, it starts very soon that he just accepts responsibility for everything. He thinks it's his responsibility to save and take care of everybody, always putting himself last. It definitely starts that theme on early.
Definitely makes me want to shake him a little bit. Not that I could move him, but
yeah. Like you said, he's a big golden retriever. Is like he means well, but like he takes on that weight really heavily, really often.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's part of what I love about Clark Kent. And if you think about it too, like he takes on things that aren't his fault, just like Lana did this episode. They're a lot alike in that way. I think when it comes to guilt and just the way that they hold their grief too.
As much as like we're talking about, it's not her fault. This is Whitney's actions, but like I guess there's like a part of her that feels responsible because she thinks that something about her actions led Whitney to do what he did, which does not mean that it's her fault. But I guess I can see the thought process of how she would get there. And it's good of her, to go and apologize for him, but she should not have to do that. He should be doing that himself. And he does make an attempt later, but Clark speeds off. He should have made a better attempt, honestly.
Yeah, he should have shown up at the loft.
Yeah.
After Lana.
Yeah, but it does also start because that becomes like a recurring thing, like Lana showing up at the loft, for the show. So that's the beginning of that.
I also think Lana, she's like intrigued by Clark, I think. After the graveyard scene, she just like felt connected to Clark and wants to stay in his life. And I feel like her going up to the loft, her saying, oh, I didn't see you at the dance last night or whatever it was. I think she kind of just wants him around and wants to be around him. I think that her going up to the loft and like staying as long as she did too is like a testament to that. Like she wants to be his friend.
Yeah, I think intrigued is a good word, for that, because like you said, there's definitely like a connection there, and they've known each other for a long time. But like another word that comes to mind is like curiosity. Like she's very curious about Clark because she knows him, but she doesn't really know him. And I think that like he's gotten to the point where he hasn't really interacted with her much because of her necklace. And now that he is interacting with her because her necklace isn't around, she's gotten to know him a little bit more. And she's like, there's more to this guy than meets the eye. And it piques her interest. It makes you think, like where the relationship would have been if she wasn't wearing that thing around her neck. So,
yeah. Another thing I really like about Lana too is that she knows everyone's name. Mm-hmm. She knew Clark's name in the pilot, and she also like asked questions. She knew Greg's name. She was willing to help him out even after he was being a creep. She was willing to help him out.
Yeah.
So it's just like she's such a grounded character. I wish we saw her curiosity for other things as much as we see her curiosity for like Clark in this episode.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is the second episode after a while, things will progress. But yeah, I agree with you. It just goes to show what like a genuine person she is, that she cares about people that she doesn't even really know very well. She takes notice of that. It speaks to her character.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite scenes or shots?
I think I'm going to go with that scene I was talking about where Clark was really vulnerable, telling his dad about, his worry about the abilities that he's coming into. That was a really good moment, I think.
For me, I don't know if I have a favorite scene. I mean, I liked that scene too, and I liked the scene where he saved Jonathan. But I have to say, my favorite shot is probably that sequence right after the titles. Somebody save. It's the opener. We're at the previously on Smallville, and the pilot episode ends looking at the stars. We come down, and then we're floating through the air like we are Clark.
Yeah.
So I really liked that. That was pretty.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I thought you were going to mention the butterflies.
I mean, I like that scene. I like that shot, but I think the camera movements and like how it felt flawless, like the transition.
I also like the scene with Clark and Chloe in the torch, like when they're just, it's beginning the investigation into the wall of weird, just seeing those thoughts percolating and just like riddled with like, foreshadowing. And I really do enjoy that, just seeing how like it's a regular thing. I think that this show does foreshadowing very well. For example, when Lana comes to the loft, she's like saying how nice of a space it is. And he says, "Oh yeah, my dad built it for me. He calls it my fortress of solitude." Like it's just foreshadowing, things to come. I think they do that in the show very well, like where they just find opportunities to bring things like that up in a good way. And that was one of them for me. It was like, here's like an opportunity to show like how the whole character of Clark Kent is like rooted in journalism, like, how he has this interest of just like how things work and, investigating and helping people out and using that as an avenue to help people out. And it's very interesting to see very early on, how that works. So yeah, I do really like that scene too.
I am gonna take back what I said, and I do have a favorite scene. It's when Clark and Chloe are in the hallway, and Chloe's like afraid that Clark is outgrowing her, and he goes, "Chloe, I could never outgrow you, except vertically." I love his delivery on that, and they're just like, I don't know. I love how the show balances out drama and humor. I like the comedic beats of the show. Clark breaking the bed and all that stuff. Like, I think the show has a lot of moments of comedy that have made me laugh out loud, and I think it's just like a nice balance. I don't know if
Yeah.
they've figured out that balance here yet, but it does come about pretty soon, I would say.
Yeah, it's very wholesome. There's very wholesome moments. He's just being like, like the witty banter between them as friends, but like you can see that Chloe takes it a little differently because she obviously has a crush on him. And she's like right off the bat, it's just like, oh, that Clark Kent charm. I forget her exact words. Just hearing that Clark Kent charm is immediately turns her feelings around. And, she's matching his energy with just like this, a smile, like to laugh it off. I think the show just did really well with just creating these tender moments with characters we just met. I think that's what strikes me right off the bat about like all these scenes with Clark and his dad. I really like the scene in the first episode where Jonathan is telling him about his origins, and then I also really like the scene in this episode where they're talking about his powers expanding, and it's like because right off the bat I can just tell that they did a really good job at displaying that relationship.
Yeah, the pilot was a great setup episode for what's to come, and you really feel like these characters have history. All of them, not even just Clark and his dad, and Clark and Chloe and Pete. Even with Greg, like you feel that they have gone to school together for years.
Yeah, and they had these subtleties too, like when they're fighting. Greg brings up, he's like, oh, like you get sick around this foundry just like you did when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's kryptonite all over the place. And like that's something that he remembers because they were friends back in the day. And like, he had this treehouse out over here. They do a good job just having like little subtle moments like that where you can just see like, oh, the ties go back.
Yeah.
Definitely good writing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would say too, this episode was, while it had a lot of Greg and whatnot, there was a lot of character stuff. The bug story came second to the character stuff, which is how it should be. And a lot of shows forget that. Yeah. Even though maybe this episode wasn't the most interesting plot-wise, but I think it makes up for it in character and the relationships.
And like you said, there's definitely the nostalgia, bringing back like, Papa Roach, and there was definitely some good pop culture references. And in this episode, there was another song. I can't think of what it was.
It was Weezer, Ireland in the
Weezer,
Sun.
Yes.
Yeah, I was bouncing my head to that at the beginning. I was like, oh, this is awesome. How did they get this song? Back in the day, the WB had a lot of song money.
Yeah. And at the end of the episode, we get another Lifehouse song.
No, it's not Lifehouse. It's The Calling. I think they're one of those like one-hit wonders.
Huh, okay.
But they did play Lifehouse again in the recap.
Yeah, so. Well, I mean, it's in the same vein, I'd say.
Yeah, they are a similar sound.
Yeah, still, it's like
it's
it's very late 90s, early 2000s, so like it's definitely nostalgic. Yeah, which is funny because it's nostalgic for us, but I'm sure at the time people were just like, this is cool because I listened to this, last Friday.
Hey man, I still listen to some of these songs. All right.
Oh yeah. So. I mean, I saw Papa Roach last year.
Oh, that's crazy. Those three songs were. I mean, even the other songs that were playing were good. The music was good this episode. But I would say my top's got to be that "Wherever You Would Go" song.
Yeah,
I loved that song when I was a kid.
It's a good song, yeah.
Yeah. All right. You have any other thoughts about Metamorphosis?
No, I think we pretty much covered all of my thoughts on this episode. We had a lot of thoughts.
We think a lot. We do.
That's why we're doing this podcast, right? Because we have a lot of thoughts. It's the second episode of the series, and the show's still finding its footing, but it still has like a good amount of good moments. That was a solid episode. There's a couple of shows you watch and you're like, by the second episode, you're still trying to figure stuff out. And like this kind of felt very grounded, like it didn't feel too out of place. It felt pretty good. It felt like they established their footing and they're telling the story pretty well right from the get-go.
I mean, if I'm being critical, which I will be,
of course you will.
I'll just, I mean, what are podcasts for? I will say maybe I would have gone with something a little less weird plot wise for a second episode, just to kind of get people on board. It's cool if you disagree, but
No, you gotta go shock and awe, bro.
I mean, there's an episode coming up that I think I probably would have put second, but I also get why they. It's
Maybe
just
they wanted
the bug
maybe
stuff.
they wanted well, maybe they wanted to scare people off early. It's like, like, hey, hey, this first episode, wasn't that bad. Like there wasn't too much super powered stuff. So we're gonna tell you right off the bat what type of show we're gonna be. So if you're scared off, you can be scared off now.
Sure. Okay. We'll go with that. That's really my only criticism, really, other than like what else I said. I don't remember what I said anymore. But I forgot.
He feels
already.
so strongly about it that he forgot.
Yeah. I'm just being nitpicky at this point, though. I think it was a solid episode.
It was. There were obviously parts, like I said, that I didn't like, but overall, as an episode, I was like, that was a good episode. Is it perfect? No, but what is?
Lana Lang. That's
oh
perfect.
My god.
She's never done anything wrong in her life.
Oh my god. Nothing ever. She's
Never.
Perfect. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Everybody else is wrong.
No, you're always Team Lana.
I know. I am.
Not that I disagree.
I'm cutting this out, but it's fine.
Well, that's it for this episode. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to email us at relativebanterpod@aol.com because we are 1,000 years old.
Join us next time for episode 3, Hothead.